Okay, so our next step now is to get in and take care of the loop for getting the number of sticks that the user wants to choose from the pile that they've selected. So we've set this flag count is valid to false. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to come in and ask the question, print, how many sticks do you want to take from the pile? How many sticks do you want to take from, instead of just saying the pile, let's tell them which pile it is. So from pile, and then we'll say pile underscore choice. Now, what is pile underscore choice? Well, if I go up here, pile underscore choice is the letter that they typed in. So if they typed A, it'll say, how many sticks do you want to take from pile A? And I'm going to need to put a question mark there and a space. Okay, and then I need to get the item count. So I'll call it item count, and it will be gets.to_i because it's an integer. Now, make sure the count is between 1 and the maximum for the chosen pile. So, first of all, if the item count is less than 1, that's a problem. So if that happens, I will say you must choose at least 1 stick. Notice every time I do an error message, I put 1 carriage return in front of it and 2 after it. And I'm sticking with that convention, and you'll see why I'm doing that later on. I wanted things to breathe when the game runs, so I don't want to cram everything together on the user interface. So if they pick less than 1, that's an error, so I've got that covered there. Now I need to make sure that the item count isn't greater than the number of sticks in the pile. So if I say pile index, so that's going to be the array piles. The index points at the pile that they've selected. What's in there is the number of sticks. If that value, okay, whatever that is, if the count they typed in is greater than that value, then they're trying to pick more piles than, they're trying to pick more sticks than what's already in the pile. They're picking too many. So if they go over the maximum, then I'm going to say pile and then pile choice. So pile whatever doesn't have that many sticks, period. Try again. Good. Okay, now the other issue I have to check for is if the item count is equal to all of the remaining sticks. Now let's just say there's 1 pile left and there's 5 sticks. If they choose to pick all the sticks, they're going to lose the game. So what we're doing here is we're setting it up so they can't defeat themselves, which, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to let them blow themselves up. But if they pick all the sticks, then they're the ones that run out. What you try to do is make it so that the other person is in the situation where they have to pick all the sticks that are left. So what we want to do here is say, okay, if the number they've chosen is all that's left, well, how do we do that? Here's a cool thing about Ruby. There is a really nice function that takes an array and adds up all the elements and gives you the answers. And all I have to do here is say piles.sum. Piles.sum adds up the sticks in the first pile, second, and third pile. Now, if say the first 2 piles are empty and the last pile has 5 in it, and they choose pile C, the last one, and they choose all 5 sticks. So item count would be 5. Well, piles.sum would be 5. 0 plus 0 plus 5. And I need 2 equal signs here, of course. So if this occurs, then we don't want to let them do that. So then I'm going to say here, puts you cannot take all the sticks. you will lose, period. We'll say you must leave at least one. And we'll leave it at that. Okay, so if they make it through all of that, they're going to come down to the else. And inside of the else, we will say count is valid is true. Can't type. Is true. So we're saying, okay, the count is true. We're good. This comment right here, make sure user isn't taking all remaining sticks, really is this particular branch of the else if right here. And as long as we're doing that, I'll put a comment above that one for the second branch. Make sure user isn't taking too many sticks. And here, the first test, make sure user wants at least one stick. Okay, so all three validation checks are there now. And for consistency, I could also do that above in the previous loop construct. Of course, I only had 2 of them there. In this case, I've got 3. This one's a little more complicated, so I put my comments in for each one. At this point, we're good to go. So if everything is cool, count is valid will be set true. So this loop, the count loop, will be satisfied. So if both loops are good to go, that means the user has selected a pile that's good and a count that's good. So now we can go ahead and remove those piles, or I'm sorry, remove those sticks from that pile. So I can say piles sub pile index minus equals item count, which basically takes the pile that they want and subtracts the number of sticks the user selected from that pile. So, should we keep playing or not is the question. Well, let's put a comment in here. Check to see if we should keep playing. How do we do that? All we have to do here is take a look at the piles and add everything up. And as long as the sum of all 3 piles is greater than 1, we keep going. In other words, if there's more than 1 stick left, we keep going. So that variable will be true or false. And then what we can say is, okay, if keep playing is true, we need to switch the current player from 0 to 1, or if it's 1, back to 0. Here's a cool little trick. This is the XOR, or exclusive OR operator. When you say caret equals 1, what that'll do is it'll take that variable, current player, and if it's a 1, it'll switch it to a 0. If it's a 0, it'll switch it to a 1. So essentially it toggles current player, 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to put a comment, since that's not really very obvious, I'm going to put a comment next to it. Toggle player, toggle current player from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1. How did I know how to do that? It's just a trick that you pick up. It's an experience that you pick up as you program. You learn little tricks of how to do things. I could have done it the hard way. Okay, I could have done it this way. If current player equals 0, set it to 1, else set it to 0. I could have done it that way. This, is 5 lines of code. This is 1 line. As long as I put a comment next to it to explain what I'm doing, it's much better to have 1 line of code than 5 or 6 lines of code. So my end here will be end while keep playing. So it's going to keep going as long as keep playing is true. So it's never going to reach line 102 unless the game is done. If the game is over, the current player is the winner, because it's not going to switch players unless you need to keep playing. So the person who sets the game up so there's one stick left is the winner, and that will be the current player. So down at the bottom here, the outcome is set up so that we can say this. Go to the players array and access current player. You win. We could even do this. Sorry, comma, players, current player caret 1, which will toggle. It'll toggle 1 to 0 or 0 to 1, so it's going to be the loser, basically. So sorry, comma, the loser's name. Your only option would be, go on the next line, your only option would be to choose the last remaining stick. So that's something like that, okay? And that's it. That's the game. Now, the reason there's squiggly lines under this is because put S, I'm using double quotes, but there's no inline variables in it, so actually I could convert that to a single quote. In RubyMine, you'll notice that there'll be some squiggly lines, like right here it says control flow statement with negative condition. Now if I go over this and click on it, sometimes it'll put a little light bulb over there, like you can see that. And if I go to it, I can replace while with until. So now it says, oh, keep going in this loop until count is valid. That's a little more readable, right? Begin and end and keep going until the count is valid. Well, that's pretty cool. I can do the same thing with the first loop. I can go up here and get my little light bulb and change it so it says end until instead of end while. It's just switching the logic around. Instead of saying keep going as long as something is true, it's saying keep going until something becomes true. And those are the only squiggly lines that I saw. I'm looking through here. Everything else looks good. So if we look at the game at the start here, okay, just review it one more time. We create an array of piles. We create an array of players that's empty. We set keep playing to true. We get the first player's name, get the second player's name. Set the current player to player 1. Get into a loop that shows the pile counts. Asks the player for the pile they're going to choose, validating it. Asks the user to tell us how many sticks they want to take out from the pile, validates it. Removes the sticks, checks to see if there's more than one left. If there is, keep going. Switch players if there is to the other one and keep going. And if there's only one stick left, break out of the loop and display the winner. So I'm going to save all this code and try running it. So I'm going to say Tim, Alice, and we'll pick pile A. I'll try to pick too many. I'll try to pick too few. Okay, so I'll pick 3. That works. Now Alice's turn. I'll try to pick an invalid pile. I'll pick B and go 3. And then Tim will choose C and do 5. And you can see here that it seems to be working. Now let me say this. If that ever happens to you, where you can write a program and it just runs and works the first time you run it, buy a lottery ticket because you'll win it that day, trust me. The only reason it works for me is because I've written it before, but I guarantee you the first time I did this, I had errors. I mean, I screwed up things. I do all the kinds of things that you do, forget to put double equal signs and so on and so forth. But I've seen this enough times that I sort of know how it works, and I just sort of did it by memory, but I guarantee you that there will be errors in your code that you'll have to fix. One of these days I should put a video together where I just do something on the fly that I've never done before to show you how to find and fix bugs in code. But I won't do that for this video. I wanted to just get this out there for you guys, show it to you. And it gives you the solution to the exercise, and it also shows you how to do comments properly and how to structure a program, and maybe you've learned a few tricks about Ruby along the way. So that's it for now. Hope this was valuable to you, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.